What's up guys, this is Nick with Zamora Woodworking. Today I want to go over some tips and tricks that you can use in Vcarve Pro to make yourself much more efficient while you're programming. This is just also a quick reminder, I am starting to ship out the physical rear dust collections that you guys see right here. Shameless little plug. I have it on my Etsy store, the link is down below. That's what I use my machine over there. Also these caddies that I keep my wrenches and everything else on. I'm physically making those and shipping those as well. So if you're interested, click on the link down below. Also, like, share, subscribe. If you find anything in here useful, please do that. Videos at the end I'll link to. If you watch some of those, YouTube's happy. Any of that stuff makes YouTube really happy, makes my stuff kind of move, and more people see it, which is just awesome. Thank you guys for all your help. Another thing gonna get out of the way, once we get to 2,000 subscribers, anyone who has commented that is a subscriber, we're gonna give away one of these Jenny bits, so make sure to subscribe, comment down below. If you guys have any other video ideas or something like that, or questions, comments, put them down below. And let's get into it. Starting out with something simple. If you look up here, this is version 11. If you save it in version 11, people with version 10, 9, 8, 7, you name it, will not be able to open it. However, what I'm told is if version 12 comes out and I'm using version 11, they can open it, but it can't go backwards. Keep that in mind. I don't know how they haven't figured that out. Just about every other software program I've ever used can go backwards. If not, there's like usually a file, save as, and you pick your version. After that's all said and done, with the more recent project that I've done, these tips and tricks aren't necessarily in a specific order. Here's this right here. This is a bitmap that I imported, and this was for my wife. Her father's not doing so hot right now, so I had him write this. This was for her Mother's Day gift. And you can import those. File, import, and then import a bitmap. So like a photo, something like that, will be what they consider a bitmap. Once you import them, here it is here. You can move it around, resize it. However, there's not much else you can do with it. So what you need to do is you need to create this into vectors. Vectors are everything that you mess with in these programs, lines, everything else, those are all vectors. That's what this program likes. So we can go over here and we can go to trace bitmap. So if you look right there, that's trace bitmap. And we can trace it, and what we're going to do is basically the computer is going to look at all this stuff here. It's going to look at everything here, and as long as you have a good contrast between these two, what I mean is if this is black and the background is a slightly less black but pretty black, the computer's going to have a really hard time. Now this being black and the background being white mostly, I mean it's like an off tinge white, it'll have a much easier time. If you have problems in this next step, you should really use like a more powerful software to do this. Vcarve can do it, but it's not the most powerful to use for it. So if you have something simple that's high contrast already, you can do it. So we'll click the trace bitmap. All right, so we got it selected, and you see the pink that's all the way around the outsides. Now you can do color, black and white. If you pick color, you can slowly check these boxes right through here. So if you see all these different boxes, and you can keep getting all the colors that you want. So like select this guy here. Everything that lights up red is what I'm going to get out of this. So right here as well, you can change that color. And this doesn't really truthfully matter. It's just showing you what you're getting so far. So I can click the next color. See how it got a little bit better. Since this is a photo, it's not perfect black and white. It's whatever the camera picked up, and it depends on how well the person took it, what the background was, how many times it'd been sent, if they'd slimmed it down to send it to you, whatnot. So then you can click this. I got a bit more. I got a bit more from there. And then I usually keep clicking until it doesn't look what I usually want. Now see this right here, we could not tell, but this right here was pretty well shaded. Just enough to be picked up right there. So I'll uncheck this. See, there we go. Now I got everything I wanted. You can adjust your corners, loose or tight. Noise filter, so make things a little more crisp, less crisp. Your fading, I really don't ever adjust these too much. You can adjust back and forth and see what it does for you. It doesn't seem to do too much with this software just because it's not the most powerful. Down here you got preview. We'll preview it, and this is showing you exactly what you're going to get. All right. And see, there's a bit of crap that came through over here. all in all, I'll just accept it because I want to show you guys some of my tips and tricks with this. So down here, we'll click apply and then click close. Okay, now when you first click on there, see how it lit up pink? And right now this vector is just sitting on top of your old stuff. So look in here. See how the real picture only showed right here, it only showed here, it didn't show way out to here. This is just what the software picked up, and you can edit those settings to get this as nice as you want. The way I'm zooming in is the scrolly wheel on the mouse. You can see I'm pretty content with this because overall it follows the same path. Yes, it's not perfect right here. I can edit different things, but the smoother you make it here, the better time you'll have, especially if you're V-carving. Because if you see like all of these indentions, when you V-carve, it's going to have to hit all, well, it's going to try to, I should say. It may not be able to. Some of these are very minute, but it's not going to be a nice, beautiful line whenever it goes through, right? If you're trying to capture someone's handwriting for something that's very sentimental, maybe you want all that. But just realize that takes time. If you look at, obviously when you just type into Vcarve and stuff, all their text is very fluid and it looks very, obviously doesn't look natural, but it looks very nice. Well, the V-bit will just fly through here. Well, here it's going to go a bit slower and jag it around. This is going to take probably 2 to 3 times the amount of time. So just know that whenever you're budgeting for your projects. But either way, I'm content with it. It's the pink version there. So I'm going to double click on it, or I'm going to click on it again. And now that guy popped up. Now I can move it. And here we go. I'll move it. See, the photo is still there. What I like to do with these two is just move it over here to the side. And then here's another little quick tip. Whenever you drag to select these things, so right now these are all, it's all one piece because you created it over here. They're all grouped together, I should say. If you ungroup them, I'll just ungroup them and I'm going to go onto groups layer. So the current layer that I'm looking at is the one it's going to stay on. Now, since they're ungrouped, I can select each one individually. See that? Another cool thing is how you drag and select things. So we'll take this, I'm going to move it over so I can demonstrate this easier. If you drag from the top left to the bottom right, everything has to be inside this box in order to get selected. So say I go halfway through dad right there, it's not going to take it. It's just going to take all this. However, if I go bottom right to top left, so I started here, going up here, anything that touches will be selected. Now, see, it selected the A, but these ones are separate because my line went through here, and since those are separate bodies, it did not select those. So that's an easy way to get rid of those little things there. So I'll press again. So I'll press again and move it here. And see, we left those ones behind, which is fine. Those are, I don't want those in there anyways. I'll click delete. Now we're going to deep dive into some of these letters. So, you know, this, I don't see any added benefit to something like this. You know, you want to go through and kind of clean these letters up. Like, look at the D over here, has all this stuff. Maybe that is a part of their writing, but for this, it was not. These ones that are in the middle, just click on them, delete, click on them, delete. Now to clean something like this up, you can highlight that and then click N for node mode. See, all the nodes just popped up. I just pressed N. And then what we can do is we can hover our mouse. You see where the mouse is right here. I'm going to hover. I'm going to press C for cut. All right. And then hovering the mouse over here, I'm going to press C for cut while it's over there. See when it changes to this guy right there? Then I'm going to hover right there and press C for cut. All right, so I'll show you what I just did. Whenever something's pink, oh, let me press N again. I'll get out of node mode. So whenever something's pink, that's all one piece right there, see? Now, because I cut right here, so I cut right here and I cut right here. Press this guy, you see it's pink all the way around to here, right where I cut, and it's pink all the way to here, right where I cut. So this middle part, I don't want it, don't like it. I'm going to highlight that, press delete. Now there's several ways you can stitch this back up. An easy way that I try to use the most is over here. You see these three right here. I really only use this guy here, which is a straight line. The next one's a smooth curve. So that guy right there, I'll press smooth curve. That looks pretty good. It doesn't look too natural, so I'll go Control Z. undo it. Now I'll go up here, draw an arc, and I'll press like there and here and kind of go to there, but I don't want to go to the ends, right? And the reason for that is I'll press all this, I'll click this, I'll hold shift, I'll click the other one, and then I'll click the smooth, and see how it just filled this guy in here, and then I'll press smooth again, just filled that guy in there. That looks a lot more natural. I'll show you the other way I do this. So we'll go back into node mode, so I'm going to press N, and then right here I'll press C. Oop. C for that, so it entered that. And right up here, press C again. So see how it entered those? I can cut those out, and we'll go back to node mode, so press N. So see how that's lit up? Press delete. Now, another method is I went up there, I press line, I click there, and we'll click here, and then escape. So I got these two, right? And I'll hold there, and I will smooth, connect them both together. So now if you look, that's all highlighted together, right? If you want to add a little bit to it and make it look a bit more natural, we'll press node mode, and then I think it's I, so we'll hover here and press I, yep. And then over here, press I, and then press I. So what that does is it adds these little guys in there. You can use your arrows and move them. So I'll move them here, here, and we'll move it there so it looks a little bit more natural. Now you can highlight all those. So this is where that whole drag thing comes in. It will really help you whenever you get a lot of these really close. So I highlight all those. You can highlight as many as you want, and then you can press S for smooth, and it kind of smooths it out, and then it also gives you these little guys here, which give you the force and direction, like vector control, how far out you are from that point, and then how much you want it to bend. So if I let it go there, it'll bend, see, that much. Go pretty crazy. I'll press Control Z, undo that. But I would like to make this look a little more natural. You know, it shouldn't be perfect, but you know, things like that you want to get rid of. And we'll go down here to this A. I'll go through this a bit quicker. So I'll hover right there, C. And then hover right here, press C, and press N for node mode. That's highlighted, delete. Click this guy, we'll do smooth. Do I like it? Absolutely, looks good. You can also, whenever you're in these, which is kind of cool, if I go down here, I'll go to node mode. You can physically move those, right? You can change their direction, so I can kind of smooth this out a little bit. It doesn't seem to, I don't do this that often. But then, if you don't even like this one right here, you don't like this point, highlight it and then press D for delete. Do not press the delete key. If you press the delete key, I'll show you what that does. So right here, if I press delete, it just deletes the whole damn thing. But if you don't need this point through here, you just want this point and this point to interact, and you don't want this other one, press D for delete, and see it makes a nice smooth line there. Well, a nice straight line, I should say. We'll highlight all of these guys, and then we'll press S for smooth, and see how it smooths all those. So it can really improve your workflow. And then a lot of these, so I'll get out of node mode, press N again. I'll move on over, and I can move these back and forth with the arrow. So the arrow is going to move a set amount depending on how far you're zoomed in. So if I'm super zoomed in, it barely moves. If I'm zoomed way out, see it, 3 presses, it moves like crazy. So that will also help you. You can take individual parts of these, so highlight this, right? And I can press it again, and you see this little guy right here, this little arrow to rotate it. If I want to rotate it, but I want to rotate it a set amount, say I move it down like this, I can press 90 while holding that, and then enter. And there it goes, it moved 90. It moved 90 the other way, but you can put -90. I don't know which way it figures out which way it wants to go. Let's get into this E over here. So I really don't want all these to be tied in together like that. It's just not going to work out very well for what I'm hoping to do. So yeah, all those little guys there, but I do want this comma there. I want this E to stop somewhere in this realm right there. So go into node mode, we'll press C right here, press C right here, and then we want this to still exist, so we'll press C right, sometimes you gotta zoom in more, so C right there, and C right there. All right, let me get out of node mode. Now you see we made this an island completely all by itself. So we'll delete this guy, and then this is still fine right here. So with this still being open, you can do the curved close with the join. I'll do that right there for you. And then this guy right here, we can do the join with the curve. So it's all about how much you want to edit it, and it's going to take some away. But I think as long as you get the overall of what you're going for, you'll be pretty happy. You know, like this is obviously the handwriting. It doesn't look anything like anything you can get from a computer. Once you get it the way you want it, highlight the whole thing, right click and group the objects so then they all stick together and you can move them all around. So say we want to Vcarve this. What you can do is use this validator right here prior to getting into Vcarving. Click that guy. And you need to obviously search. It says 000, you think everything's great. However, go into Vcarving mode, search right here, no issues found, but I will create an issue just to show you how to easily get, fix it. So first, before I create it, I'm going to ungroup, back to the regular layers, and things like that you might want to delete, but I'm just going to create an issue so you can see what would happen. So obviously that's an overlap. It's going to kind of confuse it. I'm going to group them and check it. Vcarving mode. Yep, it is pretty upset. See right there, it shows you these guys right here. Those problems. So that's a helpful little tool there. If you have any different problems, it'll show you them. Like this one right here, it's pissed off because it's overlapped. So let me ungroup it. Anytime you work on these, you do have to ungroup them. So if I were to use the scissors, I like to use the scissors sometimes to cut things. So like cutting that was nice. Say it broke it up and it made them into different separate vectors. If you click this little guy right over here, whenever it trims it, it'll try to rejoin everything. So you don't have to click that button on the side to do the smooth or straight line vectors. Here, it's probably not going to have that problem. So I don't really have to worry about it. If you don't check that, that's like if you're just wanting to cut stuff and you don't want them to all blend in together. It's helpful to have it both different ways, but usually I keep that checked. And then we press this, see the whole outline, it's all together. All right, so say you're drawing something down here, and this program, I don't think it's the greatest for drawing and laying things out, but if you did want to lay something out to precise measurements, go to line, you can start here. And then doesn't matter where you drag, see right now it's on freeforming. I'll just put it at like, I don't know, 6 inches. So if I press 6, then enter, it goes exactly to 6. And then what I'll do is I'll usually press that and leave it there. So I know from here to that point is 6 inches. And say I wanted to have a circle right there. I'll start the circle and I can have a circle right there from the edge. And then say I want the diameter to be 2 inches while I'm holding. You can watch it. Sometimes it'll snap to different, diameters. So you don't want to wait for that. You can say like 2.5, enter. And I'm pretty sure that does radius. Yeah, so 2.5, so it did the radius whenever you did that. Another good tip I got for you is if you have a toolpath that you want to have cut all the way through, obviously up here in your material settings, so edit, go up here to edit, and then we will go to job size and position. If you have this thickness correct, which is your thickness of your material, whenever you go back, we will go back, click cancel. We're happy with that. It was 0.854. Say that wasn't 0.854, you go Z equals, and it'll automatically snap to 0.854. You can also put in things such like, I don't know, 1 minus 0.75 equals, and see it automatically does the math for you there. So if you had different offsets or anything else that you really cared about, wasn't like easy to calculate. So say I'm designing, this is supposed to be my spoil board. If you go up here and grab a rectangle, and so having this guy here, 12 by 4, and then I'll bring my cursor on down to here, Click the button. See, it goes outside of there. What I like to do with this is my actual piece of wood that I'm going to be using. So wherever I zero from, I just assume there's a piece of wood here, and maybe I'll end up putting like another piece right here so I can do multiple carves at a time. So Control Z, Control C, Control V, and then say my next piece is from here, like we'll say it's up like 7 inches. I'll do a line. I'll start it right here, and I'll press 7, enter. So there's 7, and I don't like to just leave it right there because you can't really see it, so I'll put a little tail on it right there and then press escape. So you can tell exactly where 7 inches is. Say my next board of the same size on my spoil board, it starts at 7 inches. There we go. As long as I get the 0 right, this will be right, and there's my board. The program does not care whatever your job size is. Like, I'm trying to think of a good way to word this. The program does not care if you go off this plane right here. Although my job size that I have is just this white area here, it does not care. If you put stuff here, it's still going to generate it. As long as your machine has the dimensions to use it, it will still generate it. So this is more, I guess, for your reference. So because of that, it doesn't really care. It'll still generate stuff in here. So say I added this guy right down over here, it would still carve all that. Another thing I found helpful was, so with this rectangle right here, say we double click on it, we want to move it up and down. See how it starts from that bottom left hand corner and resizes? Say I do not want that, so I'll Control Z. Say I want it to go from the center and grow from there. If I hold down Shift and go over there, see how it goes that way? It'll go from the center of that box and it won't move. So sometimes that's helpful as well. You also have on this left-hand side, you have sheets, so you can have stuff broken up in different sheets. That's kind of helpful to have too. I use that every now and then, not too often. I usually just use different layers here. And then when you start getting tool paths, if you get some that are all for a certain process or a certain bit, it depends on what you want. I like to take them like this and I'll put a group there and I'll add them. So let me get rid of this group. Delete this. Create an empty group. And if you press that, you can press down on this arrow and bring it on down. And those are the 3 that I wanted to be within that group. You can also drag it like that and actually force them into the group so you can make it visible or not, like these. Make it so you can make them disappear. You can also rename them. Rename group 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That helps with getting yourself organized when you start getting more complicated processes and toolpaths. You can add in, I like to add in what size bit it is. That was a positive inlay, 60 degree V bit. I just put 60 degree 0.125, so an 1/8 inch, 60 degree clear, 60 degree clear. Over here you can do material setup as well. And with 3D carves, this makes a lot more sense to use this guy here. It shows you where your 0 point is, the thickness of your material, and then this is more used for your 3D models, moving them up and down, and then your Z rapids, how far you want it to go up before it moves around. There's also gadgets up here. I won't get into those in this video, but there's box creator, stuff like that. They're cool, but you have to know how to use them. They're not very user-friendly, but they are very useful in their own way. Anyways, that's about all I had to add on this one. Hopefully you guys got some good tips and tricks out of this. I just wanted to give you guys some quick examples of like workflow things that kind of help me. I'll do like an advanced one later. These were just more general ones that would help you, because vectors, man, those things are a pain in the ass sometimes. But yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Down below, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think, what videos you'd like to see. I'll try to create some more. Just had a lot going on lately. But yeah, definitely give me some ideas what you guys would like to see, and I'll do deep dives. I'm going to start getting into more of the advanced videos. I've been trying to keep them very simple so, you know, majority of people can get into them. And yeah, I'll leave a couple videos here at the end. Hopefully you guys find one of them interesting. Click on one of those. YouTube absolutely loves it if you do that. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. This has been Nick from Zamora Woodworking. Later, guys.